Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. A very happy morning to my lovely students. Today I have come up with a wonderful poem for you all. But before that, I want you all to hear something. This was the sound of whistling of a kettle. Now let's move ahead and listen to some other sounds. Now you have to listen to the sound and identify the sound belongs to which object or thing. Could you all guess this sound? Listen to it very carefully. Yes, the ones who could guess it right, it is purring of a kitten. Now guess this sound. Yes, my dear students, you all are absolutely right. It is the ticking of the clock.
Yay! Delaney.
This sound, did you all hear it? Whom could you hear? Yes, you all are right. We could hear a baby crying. So, these were a few sounds that I wanted you all to hear very carefully. Today, my dear friends, we are going to do a very nice poem on sounds. So, are you all ready? Come on, let's get started. Unit 10, the sound collector. Now this is a poem written by a famous poet named Roger Mego. Let's read the poem together. A stranger called this morning, dressed all in black and grey, put every sound into a bag and carried them away. The whistling of the kettle, the turning of the lock, the purring of the kitten, the ticking of the clock, the popping of the toaster, the crunching of the flakes, when you spread the marmalade, the scraping noise it makes, the hissing of the frying pan, the ticking of the grill, the bubbling of the bathtub as it starts to fill, the drumming of the raindrops on the window pane, when you do the washing up, the gurgle of the drain, the crying of the baby, the squeaking of the chair, the swishing of the curtain, the creaking of the stair. A stranger called this morning. He didn't leave his name, left us only silence. Life will never be the same. So, my dear students, this was a poem based on the different sounds that we usually hear in our day-to-day life. So, the first paragraph said that there was a stranger who called up in the morning. Now, called up here means that he came in the morning And how was he dressed? He was dressed completely in black and grey. Then he put all the sounds into a bag. Whatever sound that he could hear around him, he put them into a bag and he carried them away. That means he took them with him. What were the sounds? The sounds were like the whistling of the kettle, the turning of the lock. Have you heard when Mama puts the lock on the door? The tuck sound it makes. So that's turning of the lock. Then the purring of the kitten and the ticking of the clock. So the stranger takes these sounds along with him. Not only these, the stranger even takes few more sounds, like the popping of the toaster. Now, when you put the bread into the toaster and when the breads are done, they're toasted, the tarak sound that comes, that's the popping of the toaster. Then, the crunching of the flakes when you spread the marmalade. Now, when on a hot, nice toast, when you're spreading the marmalade, you can hear a crunching sound. Okay, and scraping noise, that noise that comes when you're spreading on the bread, on a toasted bread. So all these sounds also the stranger carries with him. Then there are few other sounds that the stranger carries, like the hissing of the frying pan and the ticking of the grill, the bubbling of the bathtub as it starts to fill. Now here we can take the example even of our buckets. When you want to go for a bath, you start filling the bucket before you enter for the bath. Now when the bucket is about to get full, can you hear the bubbling sound of it? Yes, so the similar sound can be heard when the bathtub starts to fill. Then moving ahead, there are few more other sounds that the poet is trying to make us aware of, like the drumming of the raindrops on the window pane. Now, window pane is the glass on the window, okay? The glass that is there in the windows, that is called a window pane. Now, when it was raining heavily, you might have heard the raindrops making sounds like drums. Yes, like the drumming of the drums, that those big huge raindrops falling on our window pane. So that is the sound of the raindrops. Then when you're washing, have you heard the drain making the gurgle sound? You might listen carefully the sound of gurgling of the drain. Okay, students? So then, here the poet even mentions the crying of the baby, the sound of a baby crying, the squeaking of the chair, the chairs that get old, okay, those the ones which are very old, when you sit on them, the chee sound that the chair makes, that is called the squeaking sound of the chair. Okay, now the swishing of the curtain, the creaking of the stair. Now this line, the swishing of the curtain, you can definitely check it out now. You can quickly run next to your windows and you can try to move your curtains. The sound that the curtains are going to make, that is called the swishing of the curtain. Okay, now coming to the last paragraph. It says, a stranger called this morning. He didn't leave his name. Let us only silence. Life will never be the same. Now in the end, yet we don't know who the stranger is. The stranger had come The stranger took all these sounds along but didn't leave his name, and we are yet left in silence. And the last line says that life will never be the same. So, students, wasn't this a beautiful poem on different sounds? So, that was it today. You all just have to read this poem very nicely and practice it well. Now for homework, as you all have your exams approaching, I wouldn't burden you all with any homework. You just have to read this poem nicely and then revise very nicely for your exams. Till then, Allah Hafiz, take care.